My husband's out on top of the RV pressure washing it, so probably should keep an eye on that. Good morning, no, afternoon. It's 1 in the afternoon. And I brought my flour in because I need to fill my flour jar. But I thought that I would go ahead. I've been kind of craving toast in the morning. And my sourdough starter is in the fridge because I've been going nuts on the sourdough. I've been trying to perfect my sourdough skills. So I've been working on a lot of sourdough projects, but I've just kind of taken a break from that for a bit. And I thought I would just throw together a quick artesian bread. I'm gonna do a cinnamon raisin. I thought that would be fun for breakfast. So I'm gonna go ahead, it's gonna be real easy. I'm gonna mix it up today, and then I'm just gonna let it rise overnight, and then in the morning I will throw it in the oven, and that way we can have fresh, warm cinnamon raisin bread for breakfast. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my flour filled here. I just pressure canned bone broth. So if you hear that buzzing in the background, that is my bone broth. I've just been really into making my own bread again. We aren't a huge bread family with just the two of us, but I do like to make fresh loaves from home. For one, it's 100% cheaper, especially with grocery prices. Flour, I buy my flour at Costco, so I get a relatively good deal on it, I feel like. And two, we can just pop it in the freezer. Bread is a good item to freeze, and then when I do want bread, I can just pull it out and it thaws very quickly. So it's very economical, much tastier than store-bought, way less ingredients, and super simple. Unless you're taking on something like sourdough, which I know that sourdough can be simple too, but it's also very time consuming. I mean, that's my opinion, but all right, so I got my flour filled, and because I buy it in bulk at Costco, I just keep it in one of these food grade buckets. You could put, I know there's some people that use Mylar bags, you could put a liner in here. I just buy a food grade bucket. I go through it fast enough, it doesn't really bother me to not have a liner in there. And then I just keep it out in my long-term storage. So all right, let me get my mess cleaned up here. I'm just using some raisins I got at the local discount store, and I'm dropping them everywhere. And if you have dogs, you don't want those dropped everywhere. Okay, so you just want about 3/4 of a cup. And then you want to soak them in warm water for about 5 minutes. I'm sure that if you don't like raisins, you can omit it for like maybe craisins would be good. Maybe chocolate chips even. But I love the classic cinnamon raisin bread. So I'll go ahead and get these put back. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let the raisins soak for about 5 minutes. And I'm gonna grab my bread bowl. All right, so we want 3 cups of flour. And I have some, what is this? Whole wheat flour that needs to be used up. I have a jar of it, but this wouldn't fit. So I'm gonna use part of the 3 cups of flour. I'm gonna do part of this. So this is a 1/2 cup. 2. So we have about 2 cups there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do, 1 cup of just the unbleached white flour. That way I now have an empty container I can recycle. Brown sugar, cinnamon, and then I'm just using the Rapid Rise instant yeast. I need salt. And water. Okay, so I need 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, and I just filled this yesterday, so it is fresh. You could probably omit the brown sugar. You could definitely probably use honey, coconut sugar, maple syrup. I'm just gonna go in with the brown sugar because that's what I'm gonna do. And then we want 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And I love cinnamon, so I'm gonna make those heaping teaspoons. And then salt was 1 teaspoon. And then 1 teaspoon of my Rapid Rise yeast. I think this is the last of my yeast. I don't know how that happened. Okay, and then we want warm water, and my recipe calls for 1.5 cups of warm water, and I like it around usually about 100 degrees. So this is what we're looking at right now. I'm going to go ahead and strain off my raisins. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add in my warm water. Now, all you do is take your whisk, and we're just gonna incorporate all these ingredients. Now, I am at a much, much higher elevation, so I did add a little extra water in, just to add a little bit moisture because it's a very dry environment where I'm at. All right, so this is what you're looking for. You're wanting a shaggy dough. And again, mine's gonna be a little bit more moisture or a little wetter looking than what yours might be. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take my scraper and just kind of scrape it, kind of just like that. Form it into that. And I'm gonna go ahead and cover this, and I'm gonna let it rise for about 12 to 18 hours. So again, it is 1:35, so it'll be fine to sit on the counter covered until the morning. All right, so I got my oven preheated at 450 degrees with my Dutch oven in there with the lid on. This is what it looks like this morning. What time is it? It's 7:20 a.m. So I'm just taking my spatula and going around here. And we're just gonna plop it on down. And then I just like to form it kind of in a ball with my bench scraper or bowl scraper. It doesn't need to be too pretty. All right, just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and take my parchment paper. I'm gonna put a little flour on top of that too. And then I'm gonna pop it right there on my parchment paper. And then I'll just go ahead and throw it back in my bowl so it keeps its shape. Here, I'll show you. So this is what she's looking like. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this towel over it. All right, so I put my Dutch oven in the oven with the lid on at 450 degrees. Once it preheats, I'm gonna let it go for 30 minutes. Then I'll go ahead and take the lid off, pop my bread in, put the lid on, and I believe I cook for 20 minutes and then 10 minutes with the lid off. I gotta double check my recipe, but I'll share that when we get there. All right, so my pot's been in here at 450 degrees for 30 minutes, so it should be very good and hot. I'm just gonna easily transfer that right in my Dutch oven. Put this lid back on, and I did double check, and we do want to bake it at 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, we'll take the lid off and bake another 10 to 15 minutes. So my bread's done. I went ahead and pulled it out and put it right on a cooling rack. I just let it go 10 minutes because it is pretty crispy already. That crust has a nice crisp on it, and I didn't want to push it too long. So perfect. I can't wait to cut in this and try it out.
No.
Let's give it a try while it's still warm. So good. I really like the texture that the whole wheat gives it. Again, if you don't like whole wheat bread, you can just use the 3 cups of white bread, or the white flour, all-purpose white flour. But it's so good, I'm losing my mind. So good. All right, so I highly recommend this. Super simple to make. Stop buying over-processed, expensive bread. You can do it, I promise. All right, friends, I will see you next video. Have a blessed day.